Oh, I was gonna ask you, do they give little birds? Do you think that they would give them little tiny cones if they had birdie surgery?
I have seen bird cones.
Really?
I was looking through one of the supply
Oh
things.
yeah,
What do you call it? That you can order from.
like a
That came to our work and it
catalog.
had catalog. And there's like
I
tiny
was
bird
like,
cones.
magazine? That's not right. This isn't.
Yeah,
This isn't for pleasure.
yeah.
Tiny bird cones.
I was like obsessed with that the first time I saw it. I was like, oh my god, look at this bird cone.
And your
But
vet
I
was
do
like,
know,
no.
yeah. But I do know people who just do put like socks on their birds,
Oh,
like
sucks.
with little holes for their
For
like
feet.
heads and wings and stuff, so that
Yeah.
they can't pluck at anything or whatever.
Yes. Like a birdie onesie.
Yes.
I guess a sock is like basically bird shaped because the toe part is like the tail,
hmm
and the ankle part is like the head to go through. You could get a baby sock for Bowie.
Yeah.
I guess his tail's pretty long though. He needs like a child sock at least.
hmm
He needs a chicken vest.
Yeah.
Without shawl pins though, because chickens
Yes, of
can't use
course.
shawl pins. Anyway, you're listening to Let's Stay Together Anime Break, the sub-series of Let's Stay Together, where we talk about the 2019 anime Fruits Basket. I'm Ellen,
And I'm Kayla.
and today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 25, the season finale, which was called I'm Different Now.
Woo.
Oh, I guess it should be sadder, like, I'm different now. Is that okay? We're going to do our summary, and then spoiler-free discussion, spoiler discussion like we always do, and I guess a little bit of let's look at the season as a whole thrown in there, too. I think that would be good. Since we're, I assume, a third of the way through the anime at this point. But
2/3 of the way.
2/3, yeah. Guys, I know math. Listen, I don't have
It's
to
actually going
convince
to be
you.
6 seasons long.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Mhm.
I was going to say that'd be nice, and then I was like, I don't know, that's a lot of filler content.
Yeah.
It's like I don't remember this arc.
So you don't remember the arc where they got involved in a sports tournament for 26 episodes?
Oh, the part where Kyo learned Go and he was obsessed with Go
Yes.
instead of karate for a little while. Yeah, totally.
He
Yeah.
got possessed by another spirit. This
Toru-
one of a go
Toru-
and fought with his cat spirit.
Nega Kyo. Toru also got involved in like a baking competition because, baking anime. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. And then one of them got pulled into the digital world of the game they were playing.
It was Haru, and they had to go and rescue him. Momiji had to go rescue him. It was the whole thing. You guys don't remember this content? I can't believe it. How about we get those down all as fanfic ideas? I'm ready. Anyway, this episode, in canon terms, covered chapters 96 and 97 of the manga. And we covered this in our episode 50, which was live. And it was called Tell Me What Is Real. Yeah, it was a good time. I played the theme song on a ukulele live. I think I've mentioned that before, but obviously that was my favorite part of that.
Once you remembered it.
Yeah, it took me 20 minutes, but it's fine. Listen, I know math, okay? That episode, if you go back and listen to it, which I encourage you to because it was fun, but it covered also 98 and 99. So, like, if you're either listen to the first half or go back and listen to it after the next season, the first episode, what I assume will be covered in the first episode of the next season because it's like the part immediately after is included as well.
Yeah. Or just read ahead a tiny bit.
Yeah, you should. Go read the manga if you haven't read it. You should. It would be great. Anyway, white feathers or petals fall. We see a red woven cord. Kureno narrates, it came quickly, an end and a beginning, a liberation and a curse. He stands in a high school uniform crying. Akito, still a child, stands behind him, panicking. The woven cord snaps, and we cut to the theme song. For the last time. I know. I liked this theme song a lot. I'm kind of sad, but it's okay. That's what Spotify's for. I mean... Inside the Sohma estate, a cool morning dawns. Actually, I think, is it morning or evening? I remember I forgot to check. I wanted to check that now that I'm reading it out loud. It's fine. I think it's morning.
Probably morning, yeah.
There's birds
It's
chirping.
like after New Year's, right?
Yes, maybe it is right after. Inside the Sohma estate, a cool morning dawns. Kureno slides open an exterior door of Akito's room. I'm cold, he says from the futon, and Kureno closes the door. He asks how Akito is feeling. Akito demands that he come closer, and he abides. He kneels. Akito sits up and pinches Kureno's shirt in his hand and holds him there. Kureno, I speak cruelly of you at times, but you know I don't mean it, right? Akito asks. You know I don't say things out of spite, right? You know that it's not truly what I think, do you? Don't you? Do you? Do you not?
Dost thou not?
Dost thou? Dost thou, Kureno? Toru would say in a weird translation where they translated her formal. Guys, make a translation of Toru in Elizabethan English. I'm on board. Everybody else speaks normally. She speaks Elizabethan English. We're full of good ideas tonight. I think we're on fire. Anyway. Kureno says. Akito places his hand on Kureno's chest and Kureno takes them in his. You'll always stay by my side, right? Akito asks, and Kureno remembers them sitting together as children. Akito wraps his arms around Kureno's neck. He replies. All he said was, I don't know how you translate that. Yeah. I guess it's yes. I didn't even read the subtitle. Maybe.
I like it because it's a really non-committal
pretty much
agreement.
I mean, yeah, he committed with his body, though, by leaning over.
But it's just it's I don't mean it, right? And he's
right?
Yeah, I guess.
It is pretty non-committal, I think, yes. At school, Uo, Toru, and Hana talk outside as they gather for a graduation ceremony. Graduation rehearsal ceremony.
Ceremony about the rehearsal.
The ceremony for the rehearsal. They give awards and everything.
Best practicer.
Yeah. Uo complains they'll catch cold, and Hana says that she never caught one before. I suppose it's true that idiots don't catch cold, she says, and Uo's you sound too happy about that. Uo complains that she can't catch a break since third term started, and New Year's went by in a flash. Toru thinks that a lot did happen over New Year's, and we flash back, because it's Toru, to Shisho's house. New Year's Day, and Rin complains to Toru that she woke up lying down, but she could swear she fell asleep sitting up. Toru suggests that maybe Shisho laid her down, but Rin would definitely have noticed if someone came in or touched her. Even as Haru-san? Toru asks. Haru is different. Wait, how do you know about Haru and I? Rin demands, and asks who told her. Toru figured it out after their conversation between Hiro and Haru at the cultural festival, but claims it must be women's intuition. I doubt that would be a gift that you'd be endowed with, Rin says to Toru's dismay. Rin tells her not to say the name again. They broke up. Yuki arrives and stumbles directly into an awkward situation, of course, and Rin leaves before he can apologize for intruding. He came to wish Toru Happy New Year. She notices the bandage on his forehead and asks what happened. I stood up to Akito and got a whack for it, he says with a smile. To be honest, I was shaking inside. But don't you think I did a good job? Toru remembers pushing Akito away from Yuki when they first met. Yes, she says, smiling too. No fair, I want praise too, Momiji says from the hallway. Toru greets him and Yuki asks if Momiji has done something praiseworthy too, which he confirms, and Yuki leaves to go ahead to Shigure's house. After he's gone, Momiji pulls Toru close and whispers in her ear. I gave Kureno the DVD. Toru is surprised when Momiji is happy that he was able to do it. Tears well in Toru's eyes and she struggles to thank him. Momiji takes her hands and they say a little prayer that Kureno watch it, and that Uo's feelings will reach him.
They're all so cute.
Yes.
It's watching this. He's aw, Rin, aw, Yuki,
aw,
Momiji.
Say a little prayer for you. Every time I read that / write that, I think that. Forever. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. At the main house, Shigure visits Hattori. Hattori says that Akito remained bedridden since the incident with Yuki, and Shigure says that it must have caused Akito a great shock. He suggests that Yuki be the one to take responsibility and tend to Akito, which, as Hattori says, is nonsense. Isn't that why you came today? He asks. Shigure says he tried, but Akito yelled at him and turned him away at the door. His attitude wasn't pleasing, apparently. Shigure remembers when he tried to visit Akito. Akito screams, "How come you didn't come to me right away when Yuki said those terrible things to me? Why are you always like that? Why don't you ever choose to put me first?" Shigure remains stone-faced. You're one to talk, he thinks in the present. You're the one who chose Kureno, who we see laying in bed with Akito. I have a question for you, which I didn't think about until I saw this time. You know how Shigure is staring angrily, I'm so fucking done with this face, which we talked about when we talked about this in the manga? Do you think that he saw Kureno there? Was Kureno in the room when Akito yells at him?
I always imagine it has him just reacting to Akito, but
I mean,
kind of funny to think about.
I also imagined it that way, but then there's immediately another cut to them laying together, and it's the same time of day. So I was just curious. This is my new headcanon. I don't know. I don't think it's supposed to be. But I love the idea of him just open the door.
Fucking hate that guy.
Fuck him. Akito has the door halfway open and screaming at him, and he's peering into the dark room, and he's is that Kureno in there? What, that fucking asshole's in there right now? What the fuck? He's not even listening to what Akito's saying.
Yeah.
This is the only fun part of the episode. It just gets sadder and sadder, so. I mean, it isn't even fun. Anyway, it's fun. Hattori says that Akito didn't choose anybody. Even the god of Zodiac can have a favorite among the Zodiac members. But Hattori, haven't you ever felt something off about Kureno? Shigure asks. Hattori contemplates this. He says, and then trails off, and Shigure says, yes, Kureno might be. We see Kureno leave Akito's room. See, he leaves Akito's room right after this conversation as if anyway, okay, I'm done.
Maybe he was just like hiding in the corner, hoping Shigure didn't see him.
He was trapped in the closet.
Yes.
He had a whole inner monologue, but it was just like,
Yeah.
Sad. So sad. We see Kureno leave Akito's room. Shigure asks Satori, what?
Akito just like threw a blanket over him before she opened the door. He's like sitting up in the corner,
Shigure's
covered
like,
by blankets.
Oh no, I was thinking he's laying down. Like, like there.
Yeah.
Akito's like, shit, he's coming, shit, just hide in the bed. But like, it's a futon, so there's nowhere to hide. And Shigure's like, what the fuck is that? Is that fucking bed moving? Oh god, it's fucking Kureno in here. Hope everyone likes the swearing. I feel like we don't swear very much these days. So we see Kureno leave Akito's room. Shigure asks Satori, you don't accept it because you're scared? Because you're sentimentally attached to the bond? That's pretty devious. You're the last person I want to be called devious by, Hattori says. Right, Shigure says. Wait, who did I say this to before? I forget. I'm weak, intolerant, and worthless. The worst kind of man. The worst part about you, Tori says, is that you're aware of that, and yet you don't feel it's wrong in the slightest. And Shigure smiles sheepishly. In his darkened office, Kureno holds the DVD that Momiji gave him and wonders what's on it. Momiji told him it was a present from Toru. So last time we said this was Momiji's porn collection, but based on this, I think it's actually Toru's porn collection.
Ooh, twist.
We're about to find out what's on it. Is everyone ready? It's Toru's videos of Candy Mountain or whatever. Internet videos from the 2000s. Kureno remembers Toru bringing him Uo's contact information. As long as you're alive, you'll continue to have new wishes. He puts the DVD in his reasonably sized for 2020 computer, unlike the manga version, which was a huge monitor, which we talked about endlessly, and watches it, and the class play unfolds. He remembers Akito asking him as a child, hey Kureno, what's it like to fly freely in the sky? Is it fun? Exciting? You're so lucky, Kureno. I wish I could be a bird too. Arisa comes on stage. Kureno's eyes are wide. He reaches toward the screen. There are people out there who can't see the ones they wish to see, she says in the recording. I want to see him. I want to see him. Come and see me, damn it. Tears well in Kureno's eyes, and he remembers Toru speaking to him again. Uo seems so sad and lonely that she couldn't see him anymore. He remembers Akito as a child sobbing and screaming, don't abandon me! Kureno pulls back from the computer. The play ends and the curtain falls, and he drops his head into his hands. The next day at Shigure's house, the phone rings, and he saunters over mid-reading. Hello? He says, and then stops suddenly, dropping his book. Well, this is unusual. A first, actually. Toru-kun? She's still at school. And why are you asking for her? Shigure says coldly to the person on the other end. I don't see how you'd even be acquainted. You're surprisingly feather-brained. What do you want with her? Shigure Nisan, there's something I should probably tell you, too, Kureno, the person at the other end of the phone, thinks. At long last, huh? Say, Kureno, mind if I ask something that I've been thinking about for a while? Could it be that you... Later, Toru returns to Shigure's house. Shigure meets her at the door and asks her to run an errand for him, which she immediately goes to do. I'm off, she says cheerfully. See you later, Shigure says from the ominous part of the house.
He's like, I need to get this light bulb removed. Just this one.
I want it to be dark and spooky here by the phone. On her way to the store, Toru comes upon a park with little sparrows fluttering about, all cute-like, and Toru offers her hand to them, like some kind of Snow White, and they approach her. In the distance, Kureno stands and walks over, and the birds flutter away. We see another memory of Akito crying and screaming, then transition to the main house. Akito angrily pushes things off of Kureno's desk and demands to some nearby maids to know where he is. They repeatedly told him not to leave until Akito woke up, but he wouldn't listen. Now they can't get in touch with him, they say. His cell phone is off. Find him, Akito commands. He's never left without permission before, Akito says, panting, and raises his fists high above the table as if to smash it. We cut back to the park. Kureno reaches out to Toru to help her up. The birds flew away from you, she says. You're possessed by the rooster. But she remembers rats coming to Yuki and cats coming to Yo, and she struggles to understand why the birds wouldn't congregate around him. Kureno pulls her close. Toru remembers the day that she learned about the zodiac curse. Those possessed by a spirit transform when they're held by a member of the opposite sex. Kureno hugs her. He doesn't transform. I'm different now, he says. I don't transform. My curse has already been broken. I'm no longer a member of the zodiac. It happened when he was a bit younger than her, he says, and he remembers Akito asking about how it felt to fly. I can't fly anymore, he says. How did the curse break? Toru asks. Even I don't know, he says. It happened suddenly, without any warning, and we see his memory again. Within myself there was only me, he says to her. There was nothing to drive me away. The sky looked so blue. I became sad when I thought about how I'd never fly in that sky again. And I was happy. I felt like I'd finally become human. The others don't know that you're no longer the rooster, Toru says. You still stay by Akito's side. Is there something that still binds you? Kureno takes the DVD out of his coat pocket and hands it to her. Sorry, your present was for nothing. Sorry, that's all I came to tell you. I won't see Arisa. I'll continue to stay by Akito's side. I only saw Arisa twice. They were minor, insignificant meetings, and if I never see her again, they'll become insignificant memories and will eventually fade and disappear. He remembers meeting Uo, leaning in to kiss her, then walking away. That's all they'll become. You don't have to worry anymore. Toru cups his cheek and turns his face toward her. He's crying, as is she. He remembers when Uo sassed him about how unhappy he was, and that their meeting was unnecessary, as he said. I wanted to see you way, way more than I thought, she says in the memory. He remembers her screaming, "Come and see me, damn it," during the play. I want to see her, he says as he cries. It was only twice, but she was the first person I fell in love with as my own person after becoming truly human. I can embrace her all I want. I was so easily freed from the curse that still torments the other Junichi. Only me. I'm free to go wherever I wish and love whoever I choose, but for that reason, I must stay by Akito's side. In Kureno's memory after the curse breaks, Akito, a child, stands behind him and screams and sobs. Kureno tries to comfort him, and so does the old maid. Akito screams at the maid to stay away until he says so, grabs Kureno, then darts into a nearby room. I'll kill anyone who comes, he shouts at the maid. I'll kill you! Akito slams the door. Why? Why did it break? He cries. It's our bond. Kureno says he doesn't know. It all happened so suddenly. What's that look in your eyes? Akito says, turning and facing him. No, why do you look at me with such distant eyes? Akito comes closer, the same scared and almost crazed look in his eyes that we see often today. He pushes Kureno into a curtain thing in the room. I tried Googling this. I don't know what it is. Listen. He pushes Kureno back into a curtain standing in the room, knocking it back. No, don't go, don't go! Don't leave me, Akito pleads, sobbing heavily and becoming more and more erratic. Don't abandon me! Kureno cries too. Akito continues to plead and cry, and Kureno comforts him. In the present, Kureno tells Toru that he couldn't abandon Akito. To Akito, the bond is everything. God can't exist without the Zodiac. He swore to stay by Akito that day, forever. Kureno acknowledges that he deceived the other Junichi, pretending to still be the rooster. I thought if it would dry those tears. He remembers Akito calming down and smiling through the tears in the past, and he remembers Shigure asking during their phone call, with the curse broken, don't you think you should have abandoned Akito, for his sake back then and now? In the present, Kureno says to Toru that he can't abandon Akito, though the curse is broken and the bond he felt before is gone. I may have embraced Akito out of pity, he says, thinking of kissing Akito, but I can't abandon Akito. I swore I would stay by Akito's side until the day I'm no longer needed. I decided that I would live for the one who cried until sobs racked their body, weaker than anyone, more fragile than anyone, the one so afraid. As Kureno speaks, we see Akito get out of the bath at the main house and walk toward a mirror. Clearly, we see her body for the first time. For the sake of that sad girl, Kureno says to Toru. Akito-san is a girl? Toru asks.
Dun, dun, dun.
The season closes on Akito seated serenely in feminine clothing, surrounded by flowers, and then we cut to the end credits. That's it. No more for the series.
Yep, that's it.
Everything is explained, right? I mean, let's not joke. I mean, no. Wow, what an ending. Were you expecting that? I wonder how people feel. Like, I wonder what it's like to feel this for the first time. I would love to, like, have had my memory wiped and just reread this series for the first time. It'd be very interesting. I wonder if anybody's, like, screaming. I definitely haven't checked Tumblr because I just watched the episode last night and, like, right before we recorded. So I wonder if anybody out there is like, what? I wonder if they suspected it all along, though.
Yeah.
We can only speculate because we know now. Anyway, let's talk about the episode. How about that? Right. Listen. My first point is feathers. How about that? They added a lot of feather imagery as expected, I guess.
Yeah. I like how they kind of combine like the feather imagery and that like rope imagery. That I think that's anime exclusive. They kind of added that in a few scenes of
there's no
the woven rope, like rope
cord
kind
thing.
Of like surrounding all the Zodiac members. It's kind of like demonstrating the bond or curse or whatever.
Didn't they have that in, like, the first episode of this season? Or was it even the very first episode? I forget.
I can't remember. I know it's come up a couple of times.
I remember it was introduced quite early on.
When people were discussing the curse.
The curse.
Mm-hmm.
The thread that binds them.
Yeah.
As is represented visually by a thread. I like how it's kind of like a woven cord. Like, it's not just like, I don't know why. I think it's interesting use of imagery.
Like a ceremonial kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, not just like a random piece of rope or whatever.
It's just like a friendship bracelet.
Yeah. Those ones they make out of like the plastic
Yeah,
cord.
yeah. The flat plastic cord. You know what I'm talking about. You know the politically correct name of the thing that I'm talking about. Someone out there is like, what are they talking about?
It's like someone who didn't go to a
Girl Scout camp.
in
Yeah, exactly.
the early 2000s in the US.
Anyway, yeah, it's one of those friendship bracelets. It could be any friendship bracelet, so that would be hilarious. But yeah, it's this. I like it. It's this kind of like thick cord too, and then when it breaks, it's like frayed looking in Kureno's memory, or like in that scene where it's his memory. It's not his memory, I guess, but when they represent the curse being broken. I guess the reason we're talking about feathers, if you haven't listened to like our manga episodes at all, is because imagery of feathers is used extensively in the manga, particularly for the curse. Kayla had a whole breakdown at one point of a theory about when they're used.
Yeah, it's like bonds in general, not just limited to the Zodiac people, but especially involving with the curse and the curse breaking and stuff.
Yeah. In this case, it's like really straightforward imagery because it's also he's the bird, but
yeah, I like how they have like the they have the kind of like ethereal, otherworldly feathers when it's like the curse is breaking, but then they also have kind of the like the feathers that fall down when the sparrows fly away. That kind of combines those two.
Yeah, I noticed that. I liked that too.
Yeah.
Burbs. Where's our burb expert?
Yeah.
Actually, I heard him chirp before. Yeah. Get our subject matter expert in here to be like, yeah, those are feathers.
Yeah, he's like, definitely feathers. Not as pretty as mine, but...
He is pretty cute. Anyway, listen, I'm just happy. Or not, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm happy. They brought in what I'm pointing at, that they brought in the feather imagery into the manga as well. I mean, the anime as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they used it some of the other times, like Uo's backstory or anything where it's used in the manga too, but I bet they did. I forget.
Yeah, I can't remember right now.
Most notably,
I noticed that there were feathers on my promotional Fruits Basket anime cup that I got from seeing the first 2 episodes in theaters. And I was like, feathers. It lives.
Yeah. It's a good theory. You're right, I think. I mean, to be explored more next season, I guess, but...
Yeah.
In this case, a very prominent use of the feather imagery. My next point of discussion is Shigure. Yeah. Is it okay to talk about it? I mean, I already kind of talked about it when I was talking about him staring blankly while Akito was talking. But yeah, he was being so sassy again this episode.
Yeah, he was really good in this episode. Like
really,
the ominous scenes and him
see
just
you
being
later.
Like, and his like stoic like stare while Akito's yelling at him and stuff.
I like his like dark change of demeanor when he answers the phone and Kureno's on the other end of the phone too.
Yeah, because he's like being like silly beforehand. He's like coming, and then...
he's like carrying his book nonchalantly. Yeah, and then drops it.
And he's like, "Oh, that guy."
Ah, fuck that guy. He was hiding in Akito's room when I was talking to Akito. But I guess it's obvious why now in this episode why I couldn't tell before why Shigure is so mad at Kureno. Why he hates Kureno so much. Because it's implied that Kureno and Akito have a closer relationship than we might have thought before. I don't remember. They didn't show any. No, they didn't show any like any suggestive. Yeah, I was gonna say that, but they didn't show any suggestive imagery of Kureno and Akito together yet. Just him kind of like. I mean, it's kind of obvious that they have an intimate relationship from the way they acted before, but nothing explicitly that was like that. So Shigure is jealous. Extremely jealous and bitter about it.
Yeah. Poor Kureno.
Kureno's like, I just tried to be nice to a tiny child. Shigure's like, why didn't you just abandon Akito? What the hell? Yeah. It's like, because she was like 10? Like, I don't know, you know?
Yeah, it's like, and I was like, what, 14? Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's in high school. He's like, I'm younger than you. Like, the kids are now, they're in their last year of high school, so they're like 17 or something like that. And he looks like he's wearing a high school uniform, so he's probably like 14 or 15, maybe, something of that age range. So
not at the range you would expect them to make long-term, emotionally mature decisions with the crying child in front of them.
Yes. A crying child who was formerly their god. Yes.
Yeah.
In human flesh. Yes. It's really striking when Akito tells the maid that she'll kill them if they come closer. I forgot. I'm sure that happened in the manga, but I just kind of like.
Yeah, I noticed it too. There's a bit more of a focus on the maid's reaction. And like.
She like runs away.
Yeah, it's like, I think, we've talked about this in spoilers before, but it's like heavily implied that like Kureno's curse breaking is what made Akito kind of snap.
Yeah.
Because we felt like Yuki's backstory, where
it's around
he's
the same age.
like Akito was like had a temper, but was just a kid until like suddenly something changed, and so it kind of makes it seem like even like the maids were shocked at this point because like this is like the first time they'd have that kind of like violent outburst from Akito.
Probably. And Akito is like clearly because Akito is the head of the family, I think they're kind of scared of what Akito will do too. Anyway,
I mean, having a tiny child yell that they're going to kill you is pretty alarming.
Yeah. After freaking out, she finds Akito like screaming and sobbing, right? So, also, yeah, we saw in Yuki's memories that Shigure was often comforting Akito, and he was like, "I didn't know what was so like scary or awful," but now I think we know.
Yeah.
What was so bad, which was the fear of being abandoned by people who are supposed to have a set. Like Akito, when Akito cries, she's like, "This is our bond. Like, why did it break? I don't understand." Like, Kureno says that Akito desperately clings to the bond as well.
Yeah.
Kureno is like, there can't be a god without a zodiac. But I feel like it's beyond that, though. It's intense. I think it's interesting so one thing that's interesting of note, I guess, in general, is like Shigure and Hattori, they talk about how Kureno seems different. And we knew before that all the zodiac, like, don't trust him. So it's implied that and also it was Akito was like immediately upset before Kureno could like explain anything that happened. Like they know the curse is broken.
Yeah.
So we discussed this in our manga episode before, but it seems like an aspect of the curse is that they can sense that the others are cursed, I guess. And I guess Akito can sense when the curse breaks.
Yeah, and it seems like that's like part of why Akito keeps like Kureno so isolated too.
Yeah, Akito doesn't want people
to
know.
Stop others from like catching on. Yeah.
He keeps him in the closet just for.
Yes.
Kureno, you're inferior. This is for your own good. Yeah. Yeah, the relationship with the maid is interesting. The family is interesting too because I guess this is the first kind of severely violent outburst from Akito that we've seen in the series. But then in the present, Akito is like tearing up Kureno's office, and it's like find him, and the maids all scuttle off like they don't want to deal with it, like they don't want to be there, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I guess
like it's now it's normal.
Yeah. When you're a cult leader, I guess you can do whatever you want. It's interesting to see like the family's reaction too. They don't like this episode doesn't get into it in a lot of detail, but just to see those little moments is I think very telling.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we've seen them before and how much they kind of like worship Akito and think that Akito, can't do anything wrong or whatever, especially the old maid.
I found the like exact translation of Kureno's like the little confession bit with the "I'm different now" kind of interesting because it's like what he really is like normal now, but he phrases it as "I'm different. now."
Yeah, that's true. You also had that same like. He's like, I was sad because I couldn't fly anymore, but then I was like super happy. All those like conflicted emotions, like kind of like when Yuki met Akito the first time too.
Yeah.
The part that I thought was interesting in his confession is that he says that he finally felt like human. Like there was no like Junichi spirit there to keep him from being himself. Yeah. He says that he wants to be with Uo because she's the first person he fell in love with. Oh, I guess I should have like what's it called? Disclaimered this up front that we'll be talking about Uo and Kureno, but if you're still listening, just cut it off. I mean, she's the first person he fell in love with since becoming human, quote unquote, which I also think is an interesting way of describing it. Yeah. Yeah, normal, different versus normal. I mean, like, he's been in this, like, culty family forever, so I guess different. Being normal is different. He's also building up the drama for Toru. Yeah. It's very important.
I've always really loved Toru in that scene, too. We've talked a bit about, like, Toru's kind of, like, emotional intelligence, like, with things. And I think, like, recently we talked about the how she was able to pick up on, like, the horror Rin thing.
Yeah, her woman's intuition. That. I mean...
Yeah, her woman's intuition. But I think, like, the fact, like, while she's talking to Kureno, how she, like, immediately picks up on, like what else is holding you back kind of thing. Like, she was like, you're freed from the curse, but something is still, like, binding you. And then her, like, while he's, like, trying to calmly be like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, everything's cool. And she just, like, touches his face and, like, turns him toward her. And he's, like,
crying. Everyone's crying. Yeah. You know what I thought was interesting in that scene about Toru specifically also was, like, when he's, like, oh, my curse is broken, she's like, how did it break? Like, she asks him immediately, and it's kind of like, normally she asks things in kind of like a super formal way, but I feel like it kind of caught her off guard. It caught her so off guard that she just like blurted it out based on the way that she acts that line, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't really notice that.
And before. I don't think it's ever like explicitly stated, but I feel like her immediate thought was with Kyo at that moment.
It's possible. Yeah, of course. Because like her expression too is not like, it becomes more like sad for Kureno later, but at first it's just like completely like kind of taken aback and surprised more than anything else.
Yeah.
And maybe hopeful, like it's possible.
Yeah. She even like grabs his arms, like, how did it break? Like,
yeah, she grabs his arm and like shakes him, and it's like, how did it break? Yeah. How did it break? Yeah. And he's like, I don't know, and then it becomes sad. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's like she kind of like, not like forgets herself, but she acts really impulsively for a second, which is very interesting. Not out of character, but interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But we'll never know. Where's the fanfic? I mean, I think we all know.
And like, she may not have even consciously thought it, but I just feel like instinctively she's like, there's a way.
Yeah,
like,
there's a. It's shocking that there's a way that the curse can break at all. Because I think she's had all her discussion with Rin so far has been like, there's no way to do it. You know?
Yeah.
This is the first time we know of anybody's curse being broken in the series. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, her reactions to that scene are interesting. And you're right. Her emotional response to Kureno being like, yeah, everything's fine. And then he's like sobbing. It's also very interesting.
Yeah.
Notable. She's a good Toru. You know how we have like best Ed Cosmo? It's like best Toru.
Yes. She's the best Toru there is.
Yeah, she's definitely the best Toru. Number one Toru in the whole series. Unequivocally. I like how he also, Kureno, so like one theme I think we've talked about many times in this series is that like a small run-in with somebody or like a chance encounter can change things in your life. And I think Kureno really is one of the characters that like embodies that by being like, oh, I just saw her 2 times and like those memories will just fade, which I don't think is true. I don't think they ever would have. I was thinking about that while I was writing it. I was like, but some small memories never fade, you know? They probably wouldn't have. But anyway, he it's like this a take on that same theme that we see a lot of times of just like a small meeting can mean a lot to a person, can change a lot of things in their life. I guess other people in that category are like Oo and Hana we saw in their backstories, and I guess even like Yuki probably says that later about meeting Toru in the woods, you know.
Yeah.
Smacking Shigure with his dictionaries, etc. Trying to think of what else is good to talk about in this specific. Oh well, I mean, I guess there's the big reveal, which I didn't make a note about apparently. But so Akito is a girl. It turns out is a woman, I guess, depending on how you want to. I mean, Akito's age is kind of indeterminate. It was a little bit hard to tell. Yeah. Obviously, younger than the. I think we talked about this before, but younger than Shigure et al., but older than Yuki and Toru and Kyo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely an adult, but not a very old one.
Did I make the "I'm not a girl, not yet a woman" joke?
Probably.
Brittany lives on. Yeah, so Akito, turns out that Akito is a girl. There isn't much more beyond that revealed about that at this point in the story, but
it pretty much stops right on the reveal at this point.
And then it changes to the like title card and you're like, fuck. Perhaps.
Yeah, and immediately goes like, end of season 2.
Damn it! Wait. I have questions. So many questions. I wonder if that like puts anything into perspective more. Like, we mostly see Akito as a child, so I don't know. Akito's a very interesting character. So we've seen all these things so far of Akito being super scary and abusive and powerful, not feminine at all. And everyone refers to her as like a male person, right? But the other interesting thing about Akito is Akito obviously hates women. So we've seen like Akito's abuse toward Rin and Kisa, not so much Kagura, but specifically we've seen Rin and Kisa as
and she's
major targets.
Yeah, and she's specifically like spoken to them in like misogynistic terms about like especially women Rin. Being like deceitful or whatever she said and stuff.
Especially Rin. Yeah, you can't trust them, especially ones with long dark hair like Rin.
Yeah. I do think the framing of the like like the physical reveal of Akito is interesting. How she kind of like stops in the mirror and like almost seems to like kind of glare at herself in the mirror.
Yeah, she does look kind of upset.
I
never really thought about that. Maybe the manga expression is a little bit more neutral. Also, it's like half a page, so you don't really see like... Yeah, in the manga it's interesting because like you see a similar scene, but it kind of... There's a panel of like Akito's hand touching the mirror first before it goes to show her body. So it does look like she's like lingering looking at the mirror, and it does look a little bit angry. But I do think in the anime it was a bit more pronounced.
Yeah, because it's like she's like walking by and then kind of like
stops,
like, caught her reflection and stopped. And
yeah, it's very interesting. The bath at the Sohma estate is huge. Did anybody notice? I'm just saying.
I know, it looks fancy.
I know, it looked nice. But yeah, there's like the huge... Yeah, anyway, she walks over to the mirror and we get that like... It does seem like she's kind of glaring. Not happy about her form, it seems. So why is a mystery, but...
Yeah.
For now, yeah. There's theoretically a whole season left.
Yeah. Don't say theoretically.
I think they did actually announce it, so I think it's definitely happening, but you can't commit 2/3 of the way through and or 1/3 of the way through if you and then not do it. But yes, so an interesting reveal, and I think to be explored in next season, I guess.
Yeah,
extensively.
Yeah, it's hard to say anything about it since it stops like abruptly on the reveal.
Pretty much. I mean, like you could go back and look at all of the like things that Akito did before, and then puts them in kind of a new light. But I don't know, not really. Only the like being aggressive toward women stuff, probably like written specifically. I think. Yeah. More so. One of the main criticisms of Furuba is that it's like super heteronormative. So you had all this kind of like Akito being all draped over Hasaru and like Shigure and Kureno up until its reveal. Maybe that's like a little queer baity or whatever up to this point. But it's obvious that Akito uses herself to manipulate certain people in the Zodiac too. So, and by certain people I mean all the dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say if that makes it better or worse because like having the only like quote unquote representation being like a villainous like kind of like portrayal of that would be questionable too.
Right, none of it is good.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's on the one hand, yeah, there's that, but on the other hand, it raises a lot more interesting questions about Akito's identity as a woman, which gets explored later, so we can't really talk about it that much, but
like I think in universe it's like interesting and like makes some sense and stuff with regards to the characters involved. Just like out of universe, I think
it's definitely questionable.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, the solution is to have multiple characters of different
sexual orientations
in your stories, and then like you don't have to worry about your singular one being problematic.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely true. And a valid criticism of Fruits Basket. I've never said it's not, but in this case, an interesting look at a different type of character's identity and gender identity specifically. But not till next season. Haha, sorry. Anyway, an interesting reveal and an interesting twist in the story at this point, I think. I wonder if people think that it was a twist. I think the first time I read it, I didn't expect it, but also like, I hadn't read as many things. Like, and like, wouldn't have been able to speculate anything beyond what was happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do wonder if it's more like guessable in anime format, like,
Yeah.
The voice acting and everything.
Yeah, that's true. Because Akito's voice is pretty high-pitched. Like, it's pretty, I don't know, classically feminine, I guess you could say. Not super the way you would represent a super, like, masculine character, I guess.
Yeah, like, it's got, like, an edge to it, enough that, like, in the Japanese, you could go, like, oh, it's one of the, like, woman voicing a more, like, feminine male character in tradition. But it's also, it's not, like, trying to be super masculine in its voice.
No,
like,
I don't think so.
In the voicing.
Not like the original one. So, like, in the 2001 anime, Akito is obviously voiced by a man. It has a different vocal quality.
Yeah, this is one of the things, I'm still behind on the dub.
I know.
One of the things I've been continually impressed with is the English voice actor for Akito. Because it is a woman playing Akito in the English thing, and I feel like that's something we're less used to in English voice acting.
Yeah.
Is like women playing male characters.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Except for like children, like tiny children.
Except for like young children.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like it could stand out really easily, but I think I can't remember her name.
I think it's Colleen Lincolnbeard.
Is it?
Okay. I don't know. Let me look.
I don't remember. Yeah, whoever it is, they're doing like a really good job of like
whoever it is.
Like striking
Akito
that line.
Sohma. Yes. She also played Haruhi, I think we talked about before.
Yeah.
To kiss, kiss, fall in love.
Well, no, that was what's her name? She was in the show, but I think she.
Oh, she plays Eclair Tonnerre.
Yeah, I was like she was in there, but Haruhi was what's her face who played Winry.
She played Risa Hawkeye, Colleen Lincolnbeard.
Yeah, she did. What the hell is her name?
Laura Bailey.
Caitlin Glass.
Oh, Caitlin Glass.
Yeah.
Played Haruhi. Oh, I didn't know that. That's funny. Oh, good times.
Yeah.
Is Caitlin Glass voice acting anybody? She's the director for Furuba. Oh, she voiced Machi. I was like, I'm pretty sure she was playing somebody, but I couldn't remember who. Oh, I gotta go watch the dub. Well, good thing this the sub is over. We can go back and we have time to watch the dub.
Yeah.
And like leisurely watch the dub. That sounds nice. Anyway, yeah, but she did a great job in the episodes that we had seen before everything slowed down. So
yeah, it was when I was wondering like how well that was going to be pulled off for the English dub.
I would say well.
Yes, I would say very well.
Yes,
one of the more impressive performances to me, and they're all good.
You don't like Jerry Jewell? I mean, you're like, no, I love
Jerry
Barry the Chopper. Like, I could never not love Jerry Jewell. Anyway. Or Laura Bailey. Just my favorite. It's just mind-blowing that she can play Lust and Toru.
Yeah.
Never stops being mind-blowing. I say it every time we talk about her. And I'm like, listen, she could do both. Her range is amazing. I don't think anybody else could play Toru, maybe in the world. Anyway, listen, we digress.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we should...
This has been the voice actor corner. Fan hour.
Yeah. It's like, oh, they're so great. Oh, I love Funimation. Oh. Any other things about this episode specifically? Just Kureno talked about the curse.
Kureno being sad, not boring.
I stand by what I said many episodes ago. He's still sad and not boring. I like... His voice acting is very like dry, but like in a way that I think Kureno would actually talk. He's just so downtrodden.
Yeah.
Like
it's very like subdued.
Yes, subdued is a good way to say it. Not dry, but subdued.
Yeah. And I thought they did a good job of like showing his emotional reactions to the like the
play
DVD and stuff, yeah.
His eyes are all wide and he like touches the screen.
Yeah, and then the way he kind of like remembers Akito and kind of like pulls himself back again.
The part where he's like
back to being resigned and
and sad. He like hangs his head and you hear the like clapping from the play in the background. It was a good contrast there. I liked it. I liked some of the, speaking of which, I liked some of the other musical choices they made in this too. They had like piano music for some of the background stuff with Akito, and like they had the music just like stopping when the chord snaps, I think. And stuff like that. So I enjoyed that too. Oh, this was the episode. This episode had I don't know, this airs live in Japan, and I forget how commercial breaks are done, but this episode had a very clear line that was repeated, and then line that was repeated again after when Kureno like hugs Toru in the park. So I assume that was put in for like a commercial break stop, because it's like exactly the same line, but just a different perspective, different shot. So normally they don't do that, and I kind of forgot that that's a thing because we just stream it. So. I haven't seen an anime in a long time with those like real like strong, the like title card breaks that they have.
Yeah, the little like eye catch things.
Yeah, whatever they're called. Yeah.
You will if you watch Full Alchemist.
Okay. Brotherhood?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a gag in the... This is off topic. But it's kind of a gag in the fandom because they have like these cards with characters on them, and the announcer says in English, even in the Japanese voice version, Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah,
and then when it comes back, it says it in a slightly different tone. Full Metal Alchemist.
How many times do you think they recorded that? It's like, how many different variations do you think there are? Maybe there's a YouTube compilation of all of them. I bet there
Probably.
is. Anyway, listen, do we have any other things to say about, about this episode? I want to talk about the kind of like the series. I just wanted to have a retrospective on the season, unless we have specific things to say. It's kind of weird because there was like a lot of content, but it's like, yeah, anyway, Akito's a girl, so see you next season, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's mostly like emotional rather than like factual stuff.
That's true.
Content.
I mean, fact, Shigure is jealous of Kureno. Yeah. Fact, Akito is a girl. Fact, Toru is responsible. Fact, Uo was mad. Anyway, let's talk about the season as a whole.
Okay.
Because I feel like I was like, oh yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff happened or whatever, but like so many things happened. This opened before the beach. I always think of this as being like, I guess because we focus on the beach arc so much. I mean, both us internally in this podcast, I feel that's like, yeah, like everything centers around the beach. But no, this season opened before the beach started. Before the beach arc started. And Toru, I found my notes from the first episode from the season, and Toru, she gave this like, now I was living in a tent, now I'm staying at Shigure's, but it's no ordinary family curse or whatever. But she said she hopes that she can break the curse. She hoped to help them even just a little. And she said, "What is the true nature of the curse to everyone?" That was like the end of the opening spiel.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's what we learned in this season. It seems to a certain extent, right? What's the effect of the curse on most characters? Maybe not Akito, but I feel like we
definitely got some of what it is to Akito. Yeah.
It's very important to Akito, according to the last scene that we just saw, the last episode that we just saw.
Yeah.
She's very upset. But yeah, I guess other things that happened this season that I wanted to talk about that I remembered being, I don't know, not like just important, but that stood out, of course. So, of course, there was the beach arc, which is important. But we had like parent-teacher conferences, which is always a part of the series that I like. Especially Yame coming in and rescuing Yuki, which is great. And Hana's mom telling her to graduate. And I think one thing that happened this season that we saw very strongly was Yuki and Kyo, but especially Yuki changing from where he was, having resolved to be like stronger or whatever at the beach. And then he becomes the sassy Yuki that we saw at the end of the series. Or at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'd say like overall, if I were to like pick a character that this season focused on, it would be Yuki.
Yeah, I think so. Didn't we talk about, I don't think we've ever talked about this before, but I feel like the first season, it's not like it focuses on Kyo, but I think it ends with Kyo as the focus, right? So it's like Kyo, the second, third is Yuki.
Yeah.
I would say the last third is Toru, but I guess we can't really get into why. But I guess if you could break it down that way, it kind of ends up. Yeah. Those are the things that the events in this season focus on Yuki for sure, and his growth. So much so that Machi's super introspective about him specifically.
Yeah, because it basically starts with him at like deciding he's gonna like try to do better and like joining the student council and everything.
The first episode is the student council, I think, the first student council one.
And then we end with him, standing up to Akito.
Yeah, that's true. Look at Yuki; he grew so much. What a good boy! What a good boy!
Yeah, and being pretty calm about it too, because like in this episode, where he's like, "Oh yeah, I was scared, but I think I did a good job."
Yeah,
talking with Toru
and like of course they flash back to the time where he was petrified of Akito. Yeah. And now at this point he's just like, yeah, I like forgive you or whatever, and Akito gets super angry and they're all becoming more independent and growing up. I was also really happy this season because we got Machi and Rin animated. Like this, I mean, the student council in general. I wrote Machi in my notes, but the student council and Rin, because they weren't in the first 2001 anime at all, and we finally got to see them. Aren't you happy? You love the student council.
I was very happy.
You love Kakeru.
Everything I wanted and more. Actually, it was very exciting because I think this season is like almost entirely, if not entirely, stuff that hadn't been animated before. Maybe, because I think that they had actually moved things from later in the series into the first season that weren't in the first anime. I think that that's what happened. So I think it was all new. Anyway, it was exciting, especially the student council. We got to see Kimi being like Kimi. All our new characters. Yeah, all our new characters. The student council and Rin and Kureno.
Machi. Wait, she's in the student council.
She's in the student council.
And then Kimi's basket.
Yes. And the most important character, Kimi.
Kimi, yeah. We even got to see like more, not that I like them particularly, but we got to see more of like the Prince Yuki fan club and stuff too. Like they had a completely different take in the original 2001 manga, I think. Not completely different, but pretty different take, I would say.
Yeah.
And I also remember like there was some scenes with Motoko in the beginning, a couple episodes too. So
yeah,
wasn't it the one where she like freaks out because she asked what Yuki ate for breakfast, and then she said she liked natto? Did that happen?
Yeah,
I think it did happen this season.
Yeah, it was her like self-realization episode.
Yes. And then, of course, we also had Sword of Cinderella, one of the great moments of the series.
Yes.
And if you don't think so, you're wrong. I mean, so much great material. Like I said, this time I think I screamed "Come and See Me, Damn It" like 2 or 3 times in this episode. So a lot of mileage out of Sword of Cinderella, at least. And a good break because, like, after that, I think what happened was there was like New Year's, and so that was a real downer, obviously, because Yuki was attacked by Akito, and then this stuff, which is obviously a huge upset in the story. So that's like Sword of Cinderella is like a nice little break.
Yeah.
And also all of Machi's sad backstory and stuff too. So, or not her sad backstory, her sad like current life, I guess.
Yeah. Her sad existence.
Oh. Machi's not sad either, or she's not weird. Not boring
not
either.
Boring.
Just sad. Although I don't think anybody ever said Machi was boring. I feel like some people
just her mother.
Yeah. Well, her mom's just an asshole. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Just her mother said that. Yes. Sorry. I thought you meant her mom's boring. And I was like,
no.
I get it. Listen, I'm on board. I know math. I got it. You're like, you keep saying that. I don't think it means what you think it means. Another thing that I wrote in my notes is like Toru snooping around and getting more involved. There's her like sneak mission to bring Kureno the contact information, and there's also like her relationship with Momiji that not changes but grows a bit during this part of the series. Yeah. It's established in the first season, but
yeah, and her relationship with Rin, which is
they're BFFs. They're a dynamic duo. They're gonna be a buddy cop drama, right?
Yeah. I love their little scene. She's like, women's intuition. She's like, I don't think you'd have something so great.
I like how she's just like, what about Haru? And Rin is like, no, it would be different with Haru. And then she's like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Tora really caught her off guard. It's so good. I wrote in my notes, Kyo being a butt. That's a thing that happened in this season.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, well, he's resigned that until he's confined, he'll make the most of his time with Toru. But, you know, when confronted about that more deeply, he seems to be still running away from it, including his outbursts during the play, which we don't really have a resolution on, I guess, at this point. So Kyo's kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
Like a cat? ?
Yeah. It's okay. I hear they land on their feet.
Yeah, so they do. That's what they say. Okay, well, I don't have any other things to say. It was a good season. We got all the things we wanted.
Yes.
Except for the end. I guess if I had one more thing to hope for, that would be it. But I'm sure we'll have a good third season to come. Think of all the... Well, we can't. No, we'll talk about it in a second because we'll talk about spoilers in a second. Yeah. Anyway, thank y'all for listening then. So we'll be back. Everybody, don't panic. I said this last time, but we'll be back whenever the first episode is released. So you can just follow our like Tumblr, which I think is Stay Together Podcast, and our Twitter, and we'll post updates when we see them. And then we'll be back on air. Yeah, is that what they call it for a podcast?
Yes. We'll meet you right back here.
Yeah, in the same place. Same time. Actually, it depends on whenever it gets released, but you know what I mean.
Same bad channel.
Yeah. Bad channel. For a second, I thought you said same bad channel. I was like, yep, same bad channel. We'll be same weird hosts, same bad jokes. It'll be a great time.
Same train, same verb.
Same Bowie. Anyway, we'll see you then. Unless we're gonna talk about spoilers, but if not, we'll see you next season.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Listen, guess what's left of the series? All the rest? Yeah. My spoiler section just says everything because I got tired of writing notes. Yeah. was like, to be honest, I'm done with this now. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's so hard to talk about Akito being girl when you can't talk about.
Yeah.
That's why when we did our episode, we did all of it, because then you can go through all the reaction and like everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it makes
you
a better
get the
anime.
reaction, and you also get a little chunk of Ren.
Yeah.
Stuff, which we've barely gotten
totally.
Any Ren. And Ren is so important to the role of Akito's gender.
Yeah, because we were just talking, we're like, oh yeah, girls, yeah, like Akito's misogyny. Also, like when Akito is like, I'll kill you, I was like, I wonder where that threat comes from, because like I don't think, like, I don't know, maybe little kids would threaten someone saying I'll kill you, probably, but like probably not in a like moment
not
like
that,
this,
like aggressive, desperate
so
way.
aggressive. Yeah, so I mean, it definitely, you can't really talk about Akito's like gender representation issues without talking about Ren, so effectively, at least. Like you kind of can, like we kind of talked about it, but you can't. Yeah, anyway. So there's so much left of the story. What's going to happen?
Yeah, it's funny because like page wise it's like not that much compared to like what got covered in season 2.
Yeah, there was like 50. But, I looked back at the first episode was like chapter 42 or something, and this is like 50 or 90 something, so almost 50 chapters probably, which makes sense because 25 episodes. But yeah, but
like content wise, there's just like a ton that happens from here on out.
I know. Maybe 4 seasons. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's just a lot.
I think it'll be 3.
And like also we said before, like including this episode, like when you adapt things that like don't have to be written on panels, like it, you can show more stuff. Yeah. You know, at the same time, simultaneously. Yeah. I like the adaptation of this too. We talked about how it's like a lot of text and, you know, it just becomes voiceover. So
also I was like, I think the only significant thing that got like skipped in this season is the Kyoko and Katsuya stuff. So I expect we'll get that sometime next season.
It'll have to be. Otherwise I'll be mad, just like how I would be mad if they cut out Hattori and Mayuko, like I complained about so many times.
I think it's important. So
it's important to Toru's character, unless you're just going to ignore her and like write. Because like I said in just now, I do think the first third of the story focuses a lot on Kyo, because his issue seems so superficial with the curse at first, right? Yeah. It seems like he's ostracized as the outsider and the cat and whatever, and like that's all there is to the curse, right? There's like the god and the zodiac and whatever, and it's very sort of superficial. In Yuki's arc, we see more of Akito as the sort of cult leader type person. We get a different take. Like Akito is portrayed as being dangerous in the first third of the story, but we don't really see all of that in detail till the second third. And then Toru's been suppressing all these feelings all this time. We saw a couple incidents in the second third of the story, but she doesn't really address any of those feelings till the last third.
Yeah. So it just kind of makes sense to like have like sort of Kyo and Yuki's like issues be focused on first, because it's kind of like Toru isn't able to like hide her own feelings behind helping them anymore, because they don't like need her as desperately anymore. Yeah,
they don't. They're more emotionally able to handle their feelings and stuff, but she's the one who starts to lose that ability, I guess, and is able to be more vulnerable with Kyo. Like now that Yuki has his own, you know, found family that he goes off to now, so she doesn't have to sort of like be that support for him. I was just thinking about how like one of the criticisms of Machi is that she's just like a substitute for Toru. Like that's what people think superficially about her, which I think is wrong, because I mean, a lot of reasons.
I think she's a substitute for Yuki.
Yuki for Yuki. Yeah, exactly. But like the thing, yeah, exactly. So Yuki becomes the Toru. The thing is that Machi needs him, and that's what makes her different. I mean, Machi needs Yuki. That's what makes her different. Toru doesn't really need Yuki for emotional support. She is his emotional support up until like about this point in the series that we just saw, right? So
yeah, because that's like his whole thing is like he feels like he can't like give back what he's getting out of the relationship with Toru.
Which is why it would never work.
Even though he does obviously give, you know, some support.
Definitely, but
friendship and stuff that she enjoys. But
more like camaraderie, not like emotional support.
But he just feels like it's an uneven relationship and he feels bad about it.
I think he's right about that too. Whereas Kyo doesn't acknowledge any of that. He thinks he's a terrible person still at this point, right? Yeah. He's like, I killed her mom, but he's just avoiding thinking about it a lot.
He's able to like outwardly function more. Like,
yes.
like keep all that stuff like down compared to how he had been before.
He's given up on the fight against Yuki, which was so important in the early part of the series. So yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna like be chill and like hang out, spend time with her or whatever. And then through that, they develop a deeper relationship where she's able to confide her feelings in him. Even her ones of being like, well, if my mom said that, I don't care in the at the end. So that's why I kind of think the series. I love Stubborn Toru too. She's my favorite. I really loved this where she was just like, like the curse can break. How did it break? Like immediately. I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah. Your reaction. I agree with you. She's probably thinking about Kyo because it's like there's a hope. And then she goes and talks to Rin about it. And Rin is like, fuck you, basically.
Yeah.
And Shigure is like, Shigure and Rin are like, who cares? If it breaks eventually, who cares? And she's like, no, it's not soon enough, which is also a great moment in the series.
Like, yeah. Another great Stubborn Toru moment.
More than I think she wanted them to know about her, but yes. More than she wanted to know about herself. I think it actually surprises, in retrospect.
Yeah, I think it surprises her almost as much as it surprises Rin and Shigure. Yeah.
I still love how Shigure is probably like, I think that he was kind of like, crap, when that happened. I don't think he wanted that to happen out of all his schemes. He totally like, oh, so, oops. This wasn't part of my calculations. But yeah, so many things to look forward to. All of that stuff.
Yep.
Rin also being trapped in the cat's room. Who's looking forward to it?
Yeah. Yay.
I'm already crying. It's okay. They have their, like, Haru carries her and whatever, so it'll be a good scene. We'll be like, after.
Yes.
What else is going to come? So many good things in this. Yeah, you're right. I was trying to remember what it was. There was, like, maybe one or two minor things that were moved or, like, shifted around. But, yeah, the biggest thing so far that hasn't been covered is Kyoko and Katsuya. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure they'll cover it. They have to. Yeah. Because they have to have Toru's backstory of when she was abandoned, which they alluded to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to both Kyo and Toru's
That's true.
Characters and backstories, so.
Yep. You can't have the end of Furuba without that, I guess.
Yeah.
You can't have the end of Furuba without anything that happened. That's like the kind of the point. Is like all these people's intertwined stories are, everyone is intertwined in this story.
Yeah. I think it makes sense to shove it off to the next season.
Yeah. It wasn't important for the story at hand.
Yeah, it kind of comes out in the middle of like everything.
Just like the Tori Mayako stuff. You could have it anytime. They could have had it next season and it would have been fine. I would have complained every episode until then, but yeah. Yeah, it is easy to just move. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it would have like sent the momentum screeching to a halt to be like, let's stop for an episode or two to do Kyoko's backstory.
Something else sad.
Everything happening at the end of season 2.
Yeah. You gotta have the Uo and Kureno stuff. Is there something that you're really looking forward to seeing animated next season?
I do really like that Toru scene with where she's yelling about how that's not good enough to Rin and Shigure.
Yeah, that is a good one. I thought you were gonna say her when she's yelling at Kyo, being like, "Well, I'll just have to go against my mom," which I would also like to see.
Yeah, that part too. Yeah.
Oh, we get to see.
I love the bit where she says like, what is it? Where she's like, "I won't forgive you." Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Yes. You're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
I love her expression. I can't wait to see it animated in that one part. Yeah. It's so good. So angry. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of Toru's best moments are coming up. So
that's true.
That's exciting. It'd be fun to see. Fun. It's not the right word. Akito's like full backstory with Ren and Akira and everything.
It will be interesting. That's the word I reserve for things that are indescribable. Yes.
And just all of Ren's crazy Renness.
We saw Ren being scary in that one episode. The Mission Impossible one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see her animated too. And the old maid will return.
Yes.
I think it made
Old maid will return in season 3.
Yeah. That was the title card. It was in very small text. It's like guest starring that maid.
Yes.
I'm excited to see Yuki and Kyo's final fight where they sass each other and they're like, "I want it to be you. I want it to be you."
Yeah, that's a great one.
Oh, we'll get to see Kyo sass his dad too. That'll be good. Justice is coming. Oh, we'll get to see Momichi's glow up. Remember how you talked about last episode that he was like mid glow up. We were talking about that. Yeah, I think you're right. He is mid glow up. He wasn't quite. He's still almost as tall as Toru now, but not quite. So yeah, we'll get to see his like, be shown in transformation.
Yeah.
Which will be good.
And the scene where his curse breaks and he talks to Akito is also good.
It is good. Oh, it's gonna be so sad. Well, anyway, I'm excited for next season. I think it's gonna be a good time.
Yep.
I don't have any other thoughts right now.
More drama.
So much drama. So the drama.
Okay, yes.
We have our own things that we say the youth don't understand. Although Kim Possible's on Disney Plus now, so I guess everyone has access, or it's accessible.
And they should watch it.
They should, because it's great. How about we have a Kim Possible podcast?
I would be down.
Well, let's finish FMA first, so another year from now. Okay. I don't have any things to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think all I would be doing is us just going like, that part.
That was good.
This part here.
Good. Oh, that was sad. Oh, that thing was even sadder.
I can't wait.
So great. I'd love to cry. Anyway, thanks for listening. This has been Anime Breaks for Season 2. We'll be back for Season 3. Yay. We'll see you all then. Bye. Also, you should listen to our FMA podcast.
Yes, you should.
It starts soon. I don't know when this comes out. I don't know what day it is anymore. It comes out. It officially launches October 3rd. So that's Friday. I mean Saturday.
So before this.
No, because this will come out Sunday. So I mean Monday. Okay. Yeah, it comes out Saturday.
Yeah, so like
Saturday.
5 days after.
Good thing I already done editing it. Also, it's already available. There's a preview in the App Store. I mean, whatever it's called, the Apple Podcast thing and Spotify, Google Podcast, which has a new thing. Hopefully, it's better than the old one. All your favorite places. Maybe not on like Stitcher or whatever yet, but I can make sure that it's there soon. But it's okay. Spotify's free. Everybody can listen on Spotify. Yeah. Yay. Anyway, it's called Equivalent Exchange. I guess I should say that.
Yes.
I'll post things. It's okay. You all follow all our social media and crap anyway. You'll see. You'll all be there.
There will be links.
Right? Okay. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next season.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bowie, say goodbye for the season. Like delicate clanging.
Rattle, rattle, crunch, crunch. Cards with characters on them, and the announcer says in English, even in the Japanese voice version, Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah,
and then when it comes back, it says it in a slightly different tone. Full Metal Alchemist.
How many times do you think they recorded that? It's like, how many different variations do you think there are? Maybe there's a YouTube compilation of all of them. I bet there is. Mike found, also off topic, Mike found a YouTube compilation of every time Brad Pitt eats in a movie. And then he found another compilation where someone had taken the same video and reversed it. So he was like uneating everything. I was like, this is so stupid. I love it. Anyway, good times. Listen.
There's times you're like, YouTube, why?
Except I'm like, yay, YouTube, because I hate how like overly produced YouTube is. I mean,
it's just kind of like, sometimes you're like, YouTube was a mistake. And then you're like, maybe not because of this, but...
Well, then I go and watch the like big, powerful, majestic. It's Articuno's tail is shiny, the YouTube poop.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is what YouTube was for. Yeah,
it's like something about the like YouTube age of sense of humor is just bizarre.
It is very bizarre.
So as you're watching something and you're like, this is hilarious, and you're like, why? Is this hilarious?
That's exactly. Mike was like, hey, so he watched the video. And then he started laughing hysterically, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Someone made a thing where he's eating it, like they animated it backwards." And I was like, "That sounds stupid." And they looked at it, and I was like, like I couldn't stop laughing. I don't know why. It is weird. That's what makes YouTube great. YouTube was like the weird internet thing before TikTok. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was YouTube poop before there was TikTok memes. So
yeah, sometimes I have like flashbacks to like early YouTube when it was like more gray and had like a tiny little video box and everything was in a sidebar instead of underneath the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in the day when people were like, nobody will ever consume video content online. Well, guess what?
Yeah.